How do you take a boring Zoom meeting and turn it into an unforgettable experience? So whether you're talking to an online crowd, or it's just another person, or it's an executive and you're in an interview that you want to impress them, in this video, I'm going to give you my top strategies so that you will become an unforgettable presenter digitally. Let's go. So the advantages of when you're presenting physically are totally different than when you're presenting virtually. The advantages of physically being there in the room on the stage are people can feel your presence. You know, there's this thing that talks about energy transference, that speaking is the transference of energy. So there in the room, typically you're the only thing happening on the stage or in the executive boardroom. So people are limited on what they could be distracted by, versus when you're presenting virtually, you are literally in competition against Facebook, Instagram, and the 100 notifications that person's experiencing on the computer. So the question becomes, how can I captivate this audience virtually? If you can master this game that I'm going to teach you in this video, you can become an unstoppable force, transforming lives right from your living room. So here we go. Before I dive into the framework, the number one enemy that you're going to face as a presenter in any situation, in any conversation, or from stage or on camera, is the temptation to be boring. There is so much happening in people's lives that if you are unable to engage them like I'm going to teach you, they will simply forget you and maybe even feel like you're boring. And that is what you never, ever, ever want to be associated with in your brand and for your business. So the question becomes, how can you not be boring? Here are the 3 steps that you need to crush it with your communication virtually. Step number 1, environment. I'm going to teach you exactly how to dial them in on you as a speaker and not on your slides. Step number 2 is energy. Speaking and sales is the transference of energy. So I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do so they will not turn off your video and they won't even want to leave their seat or go to the bathroom, because you're going to be so dialed in your energy. Step number 3 is engagement. The more that you can learn to engage your listener or your audience during your virtual meeting, you will have them for as many hours or days as you want to have them. So let's dive deeper into this 3-part strategy. Step number 1, environment. Here's what you want virtually: the camera on you. You don't want them tuning into anything in your background. You don't want them tuning into anything in your computer. I would highly encourage you not to use slides. Use them only sparingly. Why? Because it will take the attention off of you as the speaker. And why do you want the attention on you as a speaker? I heard somewhere that they said nothing can entice a crowd more than a great orator. So speaking, that skill, is actually the most captivating skill you could ever master and have. So why would you ever throw them a distraction by start sharing your screen, or throw them any kind of thing that they could tune off of you and your face? Now here in particular, your eyes. Let's talk about your eyes. What you want to do is lock your eyes when you're communicating on the hole that's on your camera. So I'm always like, look at the hole. Look, that's all my clients. I'm like, keep your eyes on that hole. Whatever you need to do to minimize or put windows close as you can to the top of that hole, perhaps your notes. What you want to do is engage the crowd with your eyes. It will make every viewer listening to you feel like they're having a close one-on-one, eye-to-eye conversation just with you. It's amazing how you can be speaking, and you will be speaking before crowds of thousands and thousands of people, but you're keeping eye contact with the camera, and that is what's making people feel like they're having an intimate conversation with you. Interesting side tip: when you're speaking on stage, this is a difference if you're speaking live in person on a stage. You actually want to do the same thing as keeping your eyes on the camera in the back of the room, because researchers found that after 5 rows back in a live audience, everybody else is looking at the screen. So that's what you want to do virtually, is you want to be the face on the screen, captivating and engaging them. A couple other quick tips here is have great lighting and great audio. People will be more willing to watch bad video than bad audio. So you want your audio booming sounding so that they will be riveted by it, just like they're listening to their favorite music. So environment, step number 1, you are the environment. Step number 2, let's dive into your energy. Your energy virtually will work the best. I've split tested this for me and all my clients if you're standing. So I would highly encourage you, grab a standing desk, or you can see behind me, I have a little device that props on top of my desk that can be raised and lowered. And what I would encourage you to do is to stand. Why? Because Amy Cuddy found that when you stand and when you put yourself in more of a power posture, your testosterone goes up and your cortisol lowers. What does that mean for you? It means you're going to perform better, baby. You're going to have energy. You're going to have enthusiasm. You're going to transmit that to the audience. So standing will highly create a more energetic environment in your audience. The other thing I want you to do is pay attention to your language patterns when you're speaking in the interview and in any type of meeting. Here's what you want to do. You want to tell your stories from first person, I, or he, she, it, or my client, but then quickly switch to you. Have you ever found this to be true? Have you ever wondered that yourself? Have this ever happened to you? Every time the audience hears the word you, their brains light up. They're like, are you talking about me? I'm sorry, am I in this story? They get very engaged. In fact, I read where a YouTube creator went to 0 to 1 million subscribers using short videos on YouTube, and the number one thing they always led their videos with was you. As much as you can, start to talk to the audience saying the word you. That energy will start to build inside of your listeners and your audience. My third tip for you is engagement. Okay, what does this mean? Have you ever heard a great speaker and the audience was laughing, or maybe even kind of making exclamations out loud, spontaneous, like amen, or say it again, sir, or tell them in the back, or there's some type of engagement. I like to call it talkback church because that's how my church was growing up. Now, I'm not talking about your audience like forcing anything from your audience or pushing them in any way. What I'm talking about is a natural rhythm that will happen as you're speaking, where naturally you'll start engaging the audience. If you're new to this, it will look like things such as this virtually. How many of you guys have had this happen to you? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes if that you've ever had a sleazy salesperson come up to you. So things like this, of like having the audience type something in the chat. Here's a quick tip, let the word be short. Sometimes I'll have my clients will be like, say the word superfragilisticexpialidocious in the chat. Whatever words that are long, don't do that. Typically let the word be positive. Okay, for instance, I'll say, if you feel that you've got a skill set, you've got a talent, you've got what it takes, you've got something to offer people, type the word pro in the chat. So what this is doing is engaging the crowd. Why is this important for you? It's important to have engagement with your crowd or your listener, because think about this. In Newton's laws of physics, it says like an object that is in motion will remain in motion unless acted on by an outside force, okay? But an object that's at rest, it'll remain at rest. And what do you want your listeners to do? You want them to take action, or maybe you want them to say, yes, you get that promotion, or maybe you want them to say, yes, that plan sounds great, let's go. Or maybe you're motivating the team online, virtually, or maybe you want someone to purchase something. So what you want is that audience in motion. An engaged crowd will never be a boring crowd. They will never leave that presentation, that meeting, or that boardroom saying that was boring. Why? Because they used their energy. When a crowd uses their energy, they associate it with you, and they think it's your energy. They think you're being super energetic on stage, but that's not what you're doing. Here's your mission. Facilitate your audience's energy. I want to give you one quick ninja tip for those of you who watched all the way to this point so far. If you're having an interview or a virtual event of some kind, this is the number one thing that causes higher sales conversions for my clients, and it is having your own MC. Having a partner in crime, having someone there to create flow, having someone there to bounce off of, to riff off of, for them to ask you questions, for them to laugh and say, that was good, say it again, girl. Have another partner there with you increases the energy, the engagement, and the atmosphere. Think about it. Have you ever watched a late night TV show or comedy show or interview style hosting show? There's so much flow and people can't turn it off because there's so much energy and engagement and atmosphere happening there in that interview. So if you want to start crushing it virtually, becoming unforgettable. Create this atmosphere, create this energy, and create this engagement. And I guarantee no one will ever want to turn you off again. Enjoy, have fun. Let me know in the comments if and when you do any of these tips and strategies and when they work. And if you want to dive deeper in crushing your communication to grow your business, click the link down in the description below. I would love to serve you and help your offer get out to the world. All right, I'll see you on the next video.